Jai Shri Ram, welcome all of you all for our weekly Wednesday Ramayan class. So we are in the BAALKAND, 8th Sarga, 8th chapter, and we have completed verse number 16. So we'll start with verse number 17. Please, can anyone read the verse?
King Dashratha pointed out the Brahmarakshas are very knowledgeable about the Shastras and keep searching for faults in the sacrifice. If the performer of the sacrifice deviates from the rules even slightly, then he perishes immediately.
This is the drawback in Karmakand. Karmakand means wherein uh, an sacrifice or some austerity or anything of that sort is done with a specific material benefit. Here, the material benefit is Dashrath Maharaj wanted to have uh, sons, children. So there was a specific material benefit oriented behind this activity. This is the difference between spiritual, that is, devotional activity, and karmakand, or a specific reason for which you're doing a spiritual activity. Now you will say, what is so special about it? In devotion, do we get obstacles? Does anyone face obstacles in devotion? Satrupa Devajasi Mataji, do you face any obstacles in devotion?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Obstacles आते हैं.
But for what? What is the reason?
अ, जो प्रो आप जो बोलते हैं ना, जो फुटबॉल का कोर्ट में गोल गोल पोस्ट में मतलब गोलकीपर
I'm
नहीं
not talking of that. I'm just asking you, what are the type of difficulties you face? I mean, just to name a
So,
few.
हाँ, सो प्रभु जी, कोई कोई ऐसे काम आते हैं कि हमारा जो चैंटिंग करने को टाइम नहीं मिलते हैं, जो पुस्तक पढ़ने के लिए नहीं, क्लास अटेंड करने के लिए नहीं हो रहे, और किधर भी जाने पड़ रहे हैं, ऐसे ऐसे.
Okay. So,
और डिफिकल्टी भी आते हैं, कोई कोई प्रॉब्लम भी आते हैं.
ठीक है. Okay, fine. So now suppose you don't get time to chant in the morning. You can chant in the afternoon. You can chant in the evening. You can chant in the night also. So what is the advantage? Devotion is flexible. Suppose you're traveling. 2 days you're traveling. No problem. You can chant in the flight also. You can chant in the hotel also. Wherever you are. You can squeeze out time. These difficulties, most of them are the difficulties of the mind or the challenges of the mind. It is the mind which gives you more priority to other work than to this. You want to, fine, great, but you don't get time. Why? Because mind is saying, oh, this is more important to do. For someone, it may be going to office is an important thing. Yes, undoubtedly, it's important. That's someone's bread, butter, jam, cheese, whatever you call it. But other than that, if you are only focused on these things, then you are actually stopping your own self. This is not done by some external force. These are internal forces which are stopping you from doing this process. For example, you want to, let's say you want to go to the temple in the morning, and on morning you have to go to office, or you send your child to the school. No problem. You can go in the afternoon. You can go in the evening. There is always a alternative to that. Okay, you cannot go today. Go on Saturday, Sundays. You can't go on a weekdays. No problem. Go on Saturday, Sundays. So you have alternatives. Whereas when it comes to Karmakand, let's say, Mataji, you are doing Sola Somvar. Because now you don't need to, already having a husband. But girls usually do Sola Somvar to get a nice husband. Can you say that time, no, आज नींद आ गया, आज ऑफिस जल्दी जाना है, शिव जी आज मैं कैंसिल, आज मैं व्रत नहीं रख पा रही हूँ, आज some silly reason, my boss is sending me out of Bombay, so how can I do? You cannot give these reasons. If that comes, there is a break in the Karmakand process. Agreed or not? Whereas in devotion, by chance, you are not well for 2 days, you didn't chant. No problem, third day you can resume. If there is a stop or an impediment in the devotional process, it can be resumed at any time without any problem. It's not that, oh, 2 दिन से आप chant नहीं किया, so you have to cover up for that chanting over the 2 days. No need. 2, 3 days you are not well, you are gone out, any some genuine reason, and you can start doing it on the third day. Whereas in your sola somvar, sola shukravar, whatever you have, a so-called ritualistic way of doing karma kand, usme you cannot accept a single break. I still remember, our maid servant, she follows Friday. She doesn't eat sour things, katta cheese on Fridays. My God, she literally struggles at times, but she has to maintain. She says, "Tood gaya to tood, pura tood gaya." So the point is, karma kand is always more difficult and demanding than devotional service, and that is what Dashratha is pointing out over this verse. Saying Brahmarakshasas, very important. What are Brahmarakshasas? By the way, does anyone have an idea of who are Brahmarakshasas?
प्रभु जी प्रीवियस बर्थ में जो ब्राह्मण यानी कुछ कि यानी बुरा कर्म हुआ उनसे, तो वो नेक्स्ट बर्थ में यानी वो ब्रह्म राक्षस बनते हैं, ऐसा कुछ है।
अच्छा,
यानी हाफ पता है।
अच्छा, ये ऐसा आपका गेस वर्क है. गुड, नाइस. Somebody
प्रभु जी,
else? हाँ,
प्रभु जी,
हाँ.
दो demons who know shastras.
Those demons who know shastras. शास्त्र नो करने वाला डेमन कैसे हो सकता?
But like Ravana, he know the shastra, but he
Oh,
was
very good, very nice, very nice. Okay, or something more you want to add? Acha, are there any Brahmarakshasas today, or it was there only in the call of Darshad Maharaj?
Now also it can be, no, Guruji?
Also there are. Okay, very good.
Brahmanas untimely death is they become Brahma Rakshasas.
I'll tell you honestly. Okay. But okay, let's read the explanation first before we understand who Brahmarakshas is. Please read the translation.
There are various Brahmarakshas, or in other words, scholarly demons, who are well versed in Vedic Shastra. These Brahmarakshas wait for the performer to commit a mistake and then they take away the benefits of the sacrifice from the performer. Some of the Brahmarakshas also create hindrances for the performer of the sacrifices and thus force him to commit an offense. By committing such mistakes, the performer is reborn as a Brahmarakshasa.
It is said, मैं तो गया जेल में, तू भी चल मेरे साथ. हाँ, मैं तो गया, मैं तो लटक गया, मेरा तो भाग फूट गए, तेरे भी भाग फोड़ दूंगा. See, basically, Brahmarakshas are available more in Kali Yuga. You know that there are more Brahmarakshas in Kali Yuga than in other yugas. If someone is going to the devotional path, there are someone who calls and tells you, तेरे को बताओ, तुम्हारे प्रभु जी को पूछो कि someone asked me a question very nicely last week. अरे सब कर्मकांड है, अभी शिव पुराण में शिव जी को बड़ा बताया गया है, और गणेश पुराण में गणेश जी को बड़ा बताया गया है, तो भगवत गीता में भगवान अपने आप को बड़ा बता रहे हैं. तो जिसने भी वो पूछा, मतलब जिसने भी उसको पूछा, मेरे स्टूडेंट को, वो डेफिनेटली आई अंडरस्टूड इन द हार्ट ऑफ हार्ट, ये बड़ा ब्रह्म राक्षस है. Because the intent of asking such a question is to stop you from devotional service, create a disbelief inside you. आप भगवान को मत मानो, भगवान की भक्ति मत करो, भगवान is something much inferior to what you are hyping. भगवान is just a hype, इतना कुछ hype करने लायक है ही नहीं. That is the biggest example, or the common example of Brahmarakshas on today's date. Here there are two examples here we are talking of. A Brahmarakshas is one who wants to take away your credits, pious credits. Now you do some, let's say some havan or some yagya or something, and in that you make one mistake, one silly mistake. So जैसे आपने वो mistake किया, immediately that becomes an aparad. So you are going to be devoid of all the merits of the entire puja or the havan or what the yagya, whatever it is. You know, so let's say you have done a 7-day yagya or 1 year yagya, like Ashwamedh yagya goes for years. 1 year the horse takes to travel around the globe and come back to your place. So that much time, one mistake also you do while performing, the entire 1 year's benefits or merits, whatever it is taken away by these Brahmarakshas. They either make you do a mistake or they wait for you to commit a mistake. They just wait. And they are basically scholarly people, very scholarly people. But they have taken the Rakshasa Vritti. Now, what is Rakshasa Vritti? Doing bad to others is the first understanding of Rakshasa Vritti. People don't want to do good to others. No problem. You don't do good to others, not a problem. But those who want to do bad to others is the first quality of a Rakshasa. बोलते हैं ना राक्षस है क्या, सता रहा है, क्यों सता रहा है? Because he wants to do only bad to you and he gets happiness in your suffering. And last but not the least, by your committing a mistake in performing these entire so-called karmakand process, you definitely land in Rakshasi Yoni. So Brahma means one who is intelligent, aware of the scriptures. But Rakshas means with that knowledge, he is using it for the disbenefit of others. It's like simple way to understand. Very simple. There are doctors, good doctors in the sense who treat you well. When there is a doctor who treats you well, he is Brahma, brainy, nice, intelligent. But if the same doctor treats you, in the process of treating you, removes your kidneys, because removing kidney also needs knowledge. Okay, you can't just go and cut a person and take out the kidney. You need to transplant it very nicely, save the kidney taken out from the body, and then they sell it and all. That's different. But you have to implant it in someone else's body also. That is also it's a laborious technical job. It's a very, very intelligent job. But is it beneficial? So this is a simple way of understanding. I'm not saying they are Brahmarakshasas. What I'm trying to say is this is a simple way of understanding how Brahmarakshasas actually think or work. This is how they work. This is how they do. So that is why he is giving a word of caution. भाई याद रखना, एक गलती हो गया, जितना भी सही काम किया है, कितना भी बेनिट्स किया है, all will go in one swipe. 1 minute, everything will go down the drains. So this is the explanation. I mean, this is a word of caution which is given by King Dasharatha. Please continue.
King Dasharatha further said, "Hence, you all who are capable and expert in the performance of sacrifices should complete my sacrifice as per the rules without any faults." Continue.
Continue.
All the ministers, after listening to the king's words, honored him. They assured the king by saying that the sacrifice would be done as it was done earlier without any faults. Then the Brahmanas, who were the knowers of virtues, blessed King Dasharatha, the best of the kings. They all again went back as they had come.
So basically, what did the assurance the Brahmanas give who had been invited by Dasharatha? They said, don't worry, we will do it without any fault. आपका कोई problem नहीं आएगा, आपको पर कोई ब्रह्म राक्षस आपको बनना नहीं पड़ेगा. And the best part is, let's say Brahmana does this mistake. Who has to bear the brunt of it, or who has to bear the punishment? Who has to bear? The Brahmana? Or the king who is making the Brahmanas do?
King.
King. Why
Both,
the
I
king?
think.
The Brahmana has done the mistake.
I think both of them.
Both. अच्छा, you are not the judge. Otherwise, दोनों को जेल में डाल. हाँ.
रिजल्ट राजा को मिल रहे हैं.
रिजल्ट राजा को मिल रहा है, ठीक है, बट गलती तो उसने किया. गलती राजा ने नहीं किया. Always remember, never have this ambiguous in your mind. Very clear. Very, very clear. If a sharpshooter shoots someone, the police will hang the sharpshooter or the person who has engaged him in shooting. Definitely the person who has engaged him in shooting. ऐसा तो उस बंदूक को फांसी पे चढ़ा देते थे. बंदूक बोल सकते हो, आदमी बोल सकता है मैंने नहीं मारा, बंदूक ने मारा. बंदूक fired the bullet, so you put the gun to the gallows or to the hang the gun. No, you have triggered it. That's why it fired, right? If you had not pressed the trigger, the gun would have not fired. Similarly, it is always said, though the king had engaged these brahmanas in doing this sacrifice, the king is not only taking the benefits, he has to take the goods and bads, the mistakes made by the brahmanas, whether it is good or bad, he has to incur those reactions. It's like simple, if one person, somewhere there is some bomb blast happens or some railway accident happens, the railway minister is asked to resign. Poor fellow, was he driving the train? But still, at times, the minister has to take the responsibility and resign from the post. Similarly, the king has to bear the brunt of it. Please continue.
After sending off all the Brahmanas, King Dasharatha said to his ministers, the sacrifice has to be conducted as guided by the Vedic scholars. The highly intelligent King Dasharatha, the tiger among kings, having thus said, dismissed his assembly of ministers. He then entered his palace. The best of the kings, then on reaching his palace, said to his wives who were dear to his heart, as I am performing a sacrifice to obtain a son, so you all please start observing your vows.
So what is this important? The king of the best of the king then, on reaching his palace, said to his wives. Now it is more important that, you can't say, no, I have engaged the brahmanas to do the puja. Now I won't have to do anything. I will not have to bear any austerity. I will not have to do any or follow any penance. No. Now many people come and tell me, जी मैं तो दारू पीता हूँ, नॉनवेज खाता हूँ, बट मैंने ना एक पुजारी को रख दिया और वो आके घर में आके पूजा कर, so I don't have to face any problem. No, it will not work. Even you have to follow that austerity. You have to follow the penance. You can't say, no, that is not my baby, that is his baby. My baby is okay. I have just given him the money and my job is done. No. You are equally answerable to all the rules and regulations to be followed for that special yagya or puja, as the case may be. So that is why he is telling all his wives, I am performing a sacrifice to obtain a son. So you all please start observing your vows also. The king is also observing. The queens will also have to observe their vows so that they can have the king. Yes, read the explanation.
Before starting any auspicious ceremony or sacrifice, the doer and his wives must follow strict austerities and vows. This is for the internal cleansing and for preparing the doer for the ritual.
Good. This is for the cleansing purpose. We are all filled with kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, matsarya, and by this process, we are also cleansed a little. Yes, please continue.
On hearing the king's words, the queens were very pleased. Their faces were glowing like the lotus which shines at the end of the winter season.
So we are completing chapter number 8 and we are entering into chapter 9, Sarga 9, which is very, very important. The story of sage Rishi Shringa. Rishi Shringa is a very interesting topic. So please start, Mataji.
After hearing the orders that King Dashrata had spoken regarding the Ashwamedha Yajna, Sumantra spoke to the king in privacy. Sumantra spoke to him about what he had heard in the past at an earlier incident. Sumantra said, O king, I had heard this in an earlier incident from the godly Sanat Kumar. He had said this in the presence of the sages regarding the birth of your sons.
Now you have to understand all these personalities, be it be Vashishta Muni, be it be Sumantra, they are also somewhere or other the divine personalities. And they have accepted posts which are very, very mean or of a lower level or menial level with a worldly perspective. दुनिया की नजरों में बहुत छोटा काम है, to be a minister, to be a charioteer, but still all these people are accepted because they all know one secret. Just going a little forward to the Ayodhya Kand, where Dashrath Maharaj is about to tell Rama, he calls Sumantra and Vashishta Muni, and he tells, inform Rama that tomorrow is his coronation and ask him to follow vows. So sage Vashishta goes in his chariot directly to Rama's place, and there Rama worships, washes his feet, Rama's lotus feet, and takes the Charanamrit. He and Sita Mata take Charanamrit. At that time, in Adhyatma Ramayan, this conversation comes. This is not in Valmiki Ramayan. So in Adhyatma Ramayan, sage Vashishta Muni, he tells, I know who you are. You are the supreme personality of Godhead. I know you are God, none other than God. And much, much before, a couple of generations before Rama was born, before Dashrath was born, from that time, sage Vashishta is the Purohita of the Ikshvaku dynasty. And how did he become the Purohita? Sage Vashishta himself was a big sage. We all know the story about the fight between Vishwamitra and Vashishta Muni. एक जमाना था Vashishta Muni was a big sage, and Vishwamitra was that time King Kaushika. He was a king. He was a Rajrishi. He became a Rajrishi. Then he became a Brahmarishi. So he was a nice king, but he wanted a very famous Kamadhenu cow Vashishta had. He said, I won't give me that cow. He said, I will not give this cow. He said, no, I am the king of this place. You should give it to me. I'll give you 1,000 cows. I'll give you 100,000 cows. I'll give you gold, silver, what you want to tell me. I'll take you. I'll give you everything. Give me that cow, because that was Kamadhenu cow was a special cow. It could give whatever people desire. And Vishwamitra wanted that. He said, sorry. So he started the cow. She started pulling the cow. What to ask you? I'm the king. I'm not out to ask anyone. He started pulling the cow. Immediately, the cow somehow freed itself and ran to Vashishta Muni. Said, no, this man is taking me, and you're not doing anything. He says, what can I do? I'm a small sage. I'm a Brahmana, and he's a Kshatriya. He's a king. How can I fight? So you give me permission, I will fight with him. He says, yes, I've given you permission. And she immediately produces from her udder thousands and thousands and lakhs of soldiers. And the entire army of Vishwamitra is finished. That time he was King Kaushika. Including his sons are killed. And that time he realizes, oh, the power of Brahminical powers is more stronger than material Kshatriya power. So, just to go into the depth of it, just 2 minutes. It says, I will take spiritual powers. Because he is fighting with spiritual powers, I'll defeat him with spiritual powers. So he goes and prays to Shiva. He worships Shiva. And immediately Shiva gets very happy. He says, what do you want? Give me weapons. Brahmastra, every astra you give me, all celestial weapons you give me. And everything should be at my command. Shiva says, okay, take all the weapons you take. So he takes all these weapons and goes to fight with Vashishta Muni. And Vashishta Muni that time was in his room taking oil massage from his student. Everyone started running. The whole village started running. The hermitage, the ashram, सब लोग थे जो भागने लगे. Immediately, Vashta says, "Oh, don't worry. What is that? Don't worry. I am there to take care of it. Don't worry." And he just takes his rod, danda bolte हैं ना, brahminical rod, Brahma का दंड रहता है. He just throws it at the gate, the door of the hut. And mind you, Vishwamitra just dumps, throws every celestial weapon at Vashishta, and nothing reaches him. Everything is consumed by the Brahma Danda. That is the time he realizes, oh my God, even this power is of no use. Spiritual, no, celestial weapons are also of no use. And then he becomes a Brahma Rishi by doing great tapasya. And that is the time we know the story of Ramba and Menaka coming and disturbing him and all that. So the main reason why I'm telling you this is Brahminical powers is more powerful. So these people had that Brahminical power, that devotional power, and they could interact with great personalities like the four Kumaras. And there, Vashishta tells Ramchandraji, I didn't want to take this post of Purohita. Purohita is supposed to be a lower caste, lower post. Lower post. आप बोलेंगे अरे क्या प्रभु जी लोअर पोस्ट कैसा? हाँ, इट्स अ लोअर पोस्ट. वहां पे कैसा है, यजमान का जो ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, द पर्सन हु इज कॉल्ड इनवाइटेड यू फॉर पूजा, क्या महाराज 9 बजे बोला था, आप 9:30 को आए. अरे भाई ब्राह्मण है, ट्रीट हिम विद रेस्पेक्ट, डोंट डिसरेस्पेक्ट हिम. बट he disrespects him because he's paying him money. And Purohit also gupchup accept kar leta hai. So Vashishta said, why should I take up this post? This is an inferior post. I am such a great Brahma Rishi, why should I do this? That time Brahma says, अरे बाबा इश्क्वाकु वंशम में आगे जाके भगवान जन्म लेने वाले. Lord is going to take birth in that dynasty. And once you become the Kula Guru, or the, what do you say, Kula Purohit, then the benefit is you will do all the ceremonies. You will do all the puja part, including the naming ceremony of Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrugna. That is all the 4 personalities of Godhead divided. So that is the reason he says, I have accepted this post and I am serving here. Because I know you are none other than God, Lord Narayana. Similarly, Sumantra, in earlier times, when King Dashrath was not having a son, was not having a child, that time he had discussed. And he had heard, O king, I had heard that, and that in an earlier incident from the godly Sanat Kumar, the one of the 4 Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumar. He said that he had said this in the presence of the sages regarding the birth of your sons. So Sanat Kumar has been addressed in this sloka as Bhagavan. This is to authenticate that whatever he said will be perfect and true, especially that which has been spoken in the presence of sages. You know the best part of sages, what they speak, how it becomes true. कोई श्राप दे देते हैं तो भी सही हो जाता है, कभी आशीर्वाद दे दिया तो भी सही हो जाता है. How is it like? If someone blesses you with or curses you with some shrap, it is said that Brahmanas never speak lie. Sages never speak lie. And by not speaking a lie, they develop these powers. That whatever they speak will become not our today's Brahmanas who are speaking only lies from morning to night. I'm talking of the true sages. I'm talking of the true ascetics. Whatever they used to speak used to be none other than truth. Because उन्होंने कभी truth के अलावा कुछ बोला ही नहीं है. They have always spoken the truth. And that is why whatever they speak, that comes true. Therefore, King Dashratha need not worry, as it has been foretold many years ago by Sanat Kumar, that who is one of the 4 Kumaras? Already it has been foretold why it is going to be, or you're going to have great sons. Please continue the next verse, Mataji.
Sage Kashyapa will have a son named Vibhandaka.
Vibhandaka.
Then Vibhandaka will have a famous son named Rishyashringa. He will grow up in the forest and will always live like a forest dweller. Rishyashringa, the best of the Brahmanas, will know nothing else other than following his father's instructions. This great soul in the future will follow 2 types of celibacy.
So, before we go into the 2 types of celibacy, let's understand this. Now, here, flashback is going on. Flashback of how Darsharatha is going to have a son. So he is talking here, he is starting from Sage Kashyapa, how Sanat Kumar had narrated. Sage Kashyapa will have a son named Vibhandaka, and then Vibhandaka will have a famous son named Rishyashringa, and he will grow up in the forest and will live like a forest dweller. Now, an important line, what he is going to say. He, the breast of the Brahmin, will know nothing else other than following his father's instruction. मतलब पूरी दुनिया उसके लिए शून्य रहेगा. He will not know anyone in this world. The great soul in the future will follow 2 types of celibacy. So this explanation is very important. Please read it.
The word Dvaividya Brahacharasya in this verse means 2 types of celibacy vows, which is very important to understand. The 2 types of celibacy being referred to over here are Vratitva and Prajapatya. Vratitva is that vow of celibacy that is followed before marriage. Prajapatya is that vow of celibacy which is followed by one after marriage. In this, one is permitted to be involved in sexual indulgence only on selected days with his spouse. The reason why the vow of celibacy is given so much importance is because only in a human body can one perform celibacy. It is one of the prime differences between human beings and animals. Eating, sleeping, sexual indulgence, and self protection are the 4 principles that are common to both human beings and animals. The distinct additional quality of a human life is dharma, which animals lack. Humans can inquire, who am I? Who is God? What is my role in this world? Why am I suffering? Only in human life can one read the scriptures and through a spiritual teacher gain spiritual knowledge. As humans, one can follow various rules and abstain from objects of sense enjoyment which are prohibited as per the Shastras. Our scriptures do not stop us from sex life if it is under the institution of marriage. But even in a married life, a human is not expected to have uncontrolled sensual pleasure with his wife. One's spiritual quest can begin only when one disciplines his sexual life.
So there are 2 points to be discussed in this verse, in this sloka. One is, we are talking of 2 types of celibacy. Now, what is celibacy? Brahmacharya vrat, not indulging in sexual act. Now, one class of people are the brahmacharis, who are totally unmarried, because there is no question of sexual indulgence without marriage, as per our scriptures. And whoever does an indulgence without marriage, this wrong act, will have to undergo serious karmic reactions. Serious, very serious karmic reactions. I'm not discussing at what has been discussed in Garud Purana about all this, but it's very serious. It's very troublesome and very bad. So, that brahmacharya who is following strict vows, that brahmacharya, when he gets married, then also he is supposed to follow some rules and regulations. It should not be unrestricted sexual enjoyment, though it is with his own wife. Though it is with his own wife, he has to have some restrictions. Why? Then only you will be aware, oh, I am not an animal, I am a human being, I am supposed to do this so that I am following dharma, I am following my religious process. Some spiritual process I am following. So this is the reason why this has been mentioned. But another important point in this shloka which mentions that he will not know anything else other than following his father's instruction. Just briefing you. We'll come in detail ahead. We'll come a little ahead, but I'm just giving you a very brief. Rishi Shringa's father, Vibhandaka, once was attracted to was doing Tivra Tapasya. And so Indra wanted to break his Tapasya. So he sent one Apsara. And there, when he saw that Apsara, he got attracted and he somewhere, gave up his semen. His semen was released. And that lady put that in a deer's, fed it to a deer. And that deer became pregnant, and that deer gave birth to Rishi. He had horns like deers. And it is said that Vibhandaka did not allow him to mix with anyone in this world. He wanted to keep him safe from every end. We'll discuss at large next lecture also, because that requires a lot of time. That he wanted to bring him up in a very, very covered environment. Why I'm saying this is many times today's date parents try to protect their child from everything, from always. But you can't save your child from destiny. Destiny has a higher role to play in everyone's life. जो तकदीर में लिखा है, जो नसीब में लिखा है, वो कर ही रहेगा. आप कितना भी कर लो उसको, कितना भी छुपाने की कोशिश करो, कितना भी उसको बचाने की कोशिश करो. Many people, they take LIC policy, this policy, mediclaim policy, ये policy, वो policy. फिर भी जो होना है वो होते ही रहेगा. Nobody can stop that. That's why it is always said destiny is stronger than everything else in this world. So he felt, now my son should not fall in the trap of any woman. And that was the purpose. He brought him up in such a closed environment. And what happens later, you will see ahead. Take two more verses, Mataji.
O king, in this world, he will be famous for his vow of celibacy, and Brahmanas will always glorify him. He will be spending all his time performing fire sacrifices and serving his father. At that time, in the kingdom of Anga, there will be a valiant, famous, and powerful king called Romapada. In the future, due to some violation of the codes of conduct, there will be a deadly famine in Romapada's kingdom.
Yeah, famine.
Deadly famine in Romapada's kingdom. All people will be extremely frightened by that famine.
So famine is going to hit Romapada's kingdom, and Romapada is none other than Dashrath's friend. That is why Dashrath ने उसका बेटी शांता उसके हाथ में दिया ना. So that is all details mentioned in the explanation. Please read the explanation, Mataji.
As per some Puranas, and as mentioned by some Acharyas, King Romapada had once angered a Brahmana, and as a result, no Brahmana in his kingdom wanted to become his priest. The process of process of sacrifice stopped, and as a result, Indra stopped sending rain to the kingdom. This led to an acute famine. As mentioned in the Manu Samhita, humans can live happily in this world only if they follow the rules and regulations laid down by the Shastras. Even in the modern times, we see many countries facing deadly droughts, famines, and floods. Although these are natural calamities, they are triggered by the wrong actions of human beings. Scientists have found that those countries that have a lot of animal killing suffer more from these types of natural calamities. Animal farming has never been approved in the Shastras. The irony is that people generally talk about love and peace, but with a piece of meat on their plate. In India, if there is a death in the house, it is customary not to cook in the kitchen until the dead body is cremated. So the Acharyas question how people can purchase meat, which is the dead body of an animal, and eat it for sense enjoyment. We learn that in a godly society, if there is a violation of the code of conduct laid down by the Shastras, something fearful is bound to happen.
So there are two points to be understood. One is, yes, meat eating itself is very bad, and all these types of calamities happen because of wrong actions. And earlier it is mentioned in the Puranas that King Rompada once angered a Brahman. एक बार एक ब्राह्मण को नाराज कर दिया. And for because of that, what happened? All the priests, became on strike. हम तुम्हारा पूजा पाठ नहीं करेंगे. So one may say, what difference is going to cause to the king? पूजा पाठ नहीं किया तो, यज्ञ नहीं किया तो. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that it is through yajna we feed the devatas. The devatas become happy and they give us rain. Through rain, anna comes, anna grows, grains grow. We eat that and we subsist on that, we survive on that. And again we do yajna, again it goes. So it is a ever-ending cycle going. You feed the devatas, the devatas feed you. It is a paraspar, what do you say? Relation. You have a paraspar relation that you serve the devatas, devatas serve you. But here, by the Brahmanas not performing their, what do you say, rites, spiritual rites, what happened? Indra said, sorry, you're not doing any worship, you're not doing any puja, you're not doing any havan, you're not offering me anything. So from now, I am also not going to give any rain to you. But it is said, Acharya say, this famine went for many years. But in those days, the water system, rainwater harvesting, what we call today, was much there in those days also. Much better also. So the water harvesting system, the rainwater harvesting system was so nice. For many years, they didn't realize that there was a famine. Things were going nice. But then they realized, no, this is going to be troublesome. We'll take one more verse, Mataji. 1 or 2 verses more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the future, troubled by famine, that king will be filled with grief. He will summon the well-versed and senior-most Brahmanas and say, King Romapada will then say, you all are experts in Vedic codes and are knowers of the behavior of the world. Please instruct me as per the Vedic rules how to atone.
So that is the best part. When you do a mistake, if you fall down at the feet of Brahmanas and beg for forgiveness, they give you the process of atonement. कैसे उससे छुटकारा पाना है. Yeah.
Having thus spoken by the king, the scholarly Brahmanas and the experts in Vedas will advise the king. As a solution, they will instruct him to bring Shringa, the son of sage Vibhandaka, to their kingdom. The scholarly Brahmanas will further say, O king, when you bring Shringa, the son of sage Vibhandaka, to our kingdom, he should be highly honored. Then your daughter Shanta should be offered in the marriage as per the Vedic system to that Shringa, who is an expert in the Vedas. Should I? Yeah. Listening to the words of the scholarly Brahmanas, King Romapada will start worrying. He will think, how is it possible to bring Shringa, that great sage who has controlled senses, to his kingdom? Then that intelligent King Romapada will discuss with his ministers about sending some priests and ministers to get Shringa.
Okay, cool. So we come to this point that the Brahmanas are will be giving an idea to Romapada how to get, that he has to get Shringa, the son of Vibhandaka, to his country to have rain, and then get him his daughter married to Shringa. And now the biggest challenge for him, how to get Shringa to his kingdom. By the way, does anyone know where Shringa was actually living? Anybody knows?
Sringeri, no?
Yes. In today's Sringeri. That is why it is called a Sringeri. So Shringa was in a lonely place called Sringeri of today, modern day Sringeri, or that is in those days, the lonely hermit, all alone. And he has never seen the world. So how to get him was the biggest challenge. So now Romapada is wondering and thinking how he is going to get it. And that's a big planning done for that. That we will see the next lecture. Okay, with this, I would like to close today's session.